What's good? What's good? Welcome to the Epic Entertainment Critics. I am Antoine.
And I am still James.
Yeah, hey, we are doing a review today on Lovecraft Country, episode 5. I'm really digging this series, man, and I'm into it. I'm into the whole story, like the backstory. When it's coming out slowly, and I'm really digging it. And I like all the characters. And it's in Chicago, and the racist part is playing a huge role. The racist elements in the story is playing a huge role. I was kind of getting to a point where I was like, okay, I get it. Can we concentrate on the supernatural stuff that's going on? But I see why they kind of rubbing it in, because it's going to play into everything that they trying to set up with the characters. So it do make sense as you go along. A lot of stuff makes sense as you go along, because they had stuff that was in the first episode. As you remember, we watched it, and I was like, why they threw this in there? This ain't serving no purpose, other than just trying to, push some kind of agenda. But it did, it big time, it showed up later what this meant, So how'd you feel about this episode in particular?
It's a weird episode, but that's not saying much considering the show.
Yeah, it's a weird show.
Yeah, but I did like how they answered some of the how they addressed some of their callbacks. It also gives you also get a better idea of who some of these characters are. This other than just the topical stuff. What's his name, Montrose. I'm starting to get an idea why he's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, but see, he was already kind of. They made him, to me. Well, at first, I liked him because I felt like he was just a dude that got put in a situation that was trying to, do his best he could. Now I'm starting to see how much of an a-hole he is and how bad he is to his son. And then I'm telling you another thing, Atticus, I'm starting to go the other direction on him. His anger issues are getting a little out of control for me.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I know he get it from his father, and his father probably, basically they say he used to beat him and treat him bad. That's where he get a lot of that from. But I'm like, dude, you starting to become what you hate, and which happens a lot, where you used to get treated bad, now you start to do the same thing to other people.
You actually get to see just how horrible a dude Montrose is in this episode.
Yeah, and and then where they left off at the last episode, you're wondering, what the hell? So they left off, they found the pages to find out the spell, or I forget what the pages. They needed it for something. Yeah. For because the coat is still coming after them.
Right.
So they can't just. They just got the pages to. I forget why they needed it.
They needed to learn
translate
the language of Adam.
Yeah. Okay. And they was trying to do that to stop the people that's after them, which makes perfect sense. Yeah. I can understand saying I don't want nothing to do with it, but you can't.
Well, and that's the thing.
That's what's pissing me off about Montrose.
I've kind of come strained on the back and forth between Montrose and Atticus, because I get where Atticus is coming from, saying, "Look, either I learn how all this works, or they take me out anyways."
Exactly.
And then Montrose, I get he's trying to protect his family.
Yeah.
But it's like, burying your head in the sand ain't gonna protect you from these people.
But that's what I'm saying. If they come into you, you can't act like you don't know nothing, and you don't. They know where you live, and they'll find you anywhere. These people use magic.
Yeah.
They use magic. It's not like they're gonna. It's not like they just gonna look you up. Not like they just use the law.
Right.
No, they using magic.
Yeah. His mindset works before Tick finds out who he come from. Once you get involved in that stuff, you have to take charge of it. Yeah. And every step, you see first Montrose burn the book so that Tick couldn't learn anything about the whole situation.
A whole situation number one. Go to next.
Then they finally get the pages. They find someone who can read the stuff and help them translate it.
Yeah.
I assume, burned the pages.
Yeah.
And then he killed old girl.
Right. Then he killed one person that could have helped him read the pages. A-hole move number 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm really not liking this character.
Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, I know that. Oh, that dude.
Yeah, man. I'm like, dude, he's making me so mad. And not to mention, find out how he used to treat Atticus, he used to beat him
Yeah.
and treat him like crap. And he always, every time they try to do something, he always do put him in a position where I'm not gonna help you, even when he got the answer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
it makes me so mad.
And then like they go to the troubles because like if you want to make a character unlikable, have him hit a kid.
Did he hit a kid?
Like I
don't think he did that, did he?
I'm just saying it's like they keep like hitting you over the head with like there's some shit right here. That's what I'm saying. It's like because like every time they talk about at Tick's childhood, like you have Tick going on talking about I swore I'd never let that be a part of me. It's like
right.
That comes straight from Montrose.
Okay, so let's switch gears and talk about Ruby. Now, Ruby, as we know, hooked up with William. And we talked about that, like they hooked up. She's like, I promise to give you the world and all this. And Ruby's real bitter. And she's real bitter because she is very qualified for this job at the department store that she's been trying to get. And and they won't hire her because she's black. And they already got one black girl, so they only want one colored.
It even goes a little further than that, which is she's been applying, like showing her bona fides.
And then they hired the other black girl.
And then when she talked to her, it's like she just applied on a whim.
Yeah, and they didn't really say this, but I was wondering maybe because they might have chose the other girl because she was, smaller, like Ruby, a little heavy set. They didn't never really say that, but some of that could have been there too.
Well, also, I think one of the reasons Ruby didn't get hired was because she was qualified.
Right, she's very qualified where she should be. She's qualified enough to be a manager there or whatever.
And that's the thing. They didn't. They didn't want some color girl who could run the place working there because then people would ask the question of why isn't she running the place?
Right. So, and they were some color girl. You said it like that's why you was phrasing it anyway.
Yeah. And no uppity Negro.
Yeah. But no, seriously. That's kind of made her real bitter. And so when the dude's like, she always complain, because I'm black, I can't do this, and this the white man's world and all this stuff. So he's like, I'm gonna give you what you want. And she's like, yeah, whatever. So she figured like, she just got some, she was a little drunk. She fucked somebody, and she kind of stated that she probably had sex with white dudes before, but of course they never would.
Right.
Let nobody know. It's like, hey, I'm out by 2 a.m. because can't nobody see me wake up in a Negro house or whatever.
Right.
So so she wake up. That was a funny scene where she woke up and she didn't really react at first. She kind of looked at her hands like, what the? And then she hopped up, looked in the mirror, and she was a white woman.
Like, especially because like she had that moment like, that ain't right. That ain't right. What the hell is all this?
I mean, anybody will freak out because you're not just you turned white, you a whole different person. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, and then she just like, she thinks she having a nightmare. She don't know what's going on, so she freaking out and she go on the street. Kind of like this scene where it's funny how like the police just pull up on. She's freaking out and she goes to the black neighborhood because it's the only place she know.
Right.
And she freaking out. And they think it's a white woman in the black neighborhood, and when the police come, they just start harassing this little 12-year-old that was trying to help her. But it was funny when the police pulled up, she threw her hands up like everybody. How they kind of did that.
Yeah.
That was a good little touch. How they did that or whatever.
It's like one of the things I like about it is like just to showcase where the cops are coming from on this. When she says, "No, he was just trying to help me." What?
You're right. Like I mean, come on, the cops. It was a boy. It wasn't even a grown man. It was like a 10-year-old boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to help him. What the hell? After a while, they could have been like, all right, get out of here, kid. But no, they just steady, what you doing, boy? Yeah. I was like, come on, man.
They was about to break his face with the book for throwing it at him.
Yeah. So, I mean, they kind of laid on a little thick. But, I mean, for all we know, stuff could have been going on like that. But anyway, this play to the story. She found out, okay, I'm a white. She can be a white woman. Now, once she turned back into herself, which the whole process is real bad. once she turned back into herself, why would you kind of go? Because it's a. Not only do she just turn white, but her whole bone structure changes, and it's got to be very painful.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Where she metamorphs into a different person.
And the thing is, like, it'd be different if it was like her body folded in on itself to do that,
or just her skin. Like, you know what I'm saying? If it was just kind of minor cosmetic differences,
like nah,
her whole body changed.
Because like when she all of her as Ruby is somewhere inside of her as what's her name when she's white? Hillary.
I don't shoot. I forget. Was it Davenport? Something
like
Davenport?
Hillary Davenport.
Something like that.
It's like, and so she busts out of this body.
Well, it's like a shell.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like once her new body start to take shape, it turns. But right, and then when her old body come back, it because like Ruby's bigger than her counterpart, so her bones start to grow and get bigger, and and all that skin and flesh just start like fall off.
Like
it's a very gross sight.
And like and it's not like she's, you know, like some of the different like werewolf transformations we've seen over the years. Where it's like you can watch it expand through the skin.
Yeah.
Like, no, it busts out.
Right. So it's not just her body is changing. It's a whole nother body underneath that body.
Yeah. Like, and that's like, it's like, and you see parts of it like changing under the skin.
Yeah, right.
Oh man,
it seems very painful.
Yeah,
and
it's painful to watch.
So kind of William kind of gave him the choice, like, hey, you can drink this elixir and you can go back into that body anytime you want to, which is tempting because she was saying, just because when she was that white woman for a minute, they treated her like a human being. They didn't just throw her in jail. Like, she freaking out in the street, half naked. And if she was black, they would just throw her in jail. But white, they would safely find her home, you know, got her home or whatever. So she was like, that little feeling right there. She was like, I kind of want to take advantage of some of the perks of being white, you know. So they kind of did like a Jekyll and Hyde thing.
Yeah.
Where she kept going back.
It's also weird watching the two performances because you got, I can't remember the girl's name that plays Ruby. But you have her performance, and then you have the white woman's performance, and there's still some Ruby in there.
Yeah, right.
You know, but like there's so much else that she's putting on to try to be what she thinks a white woman is.
Yeah, but she got to be a black woman trying to be a white woman, and that's tricky.
It's right. And so it's like you have to write in. Well, this is what Ruby thinks a white woman is, so this is how you have to act as a black woman trying to act like a white woman.
Exactly spot on, but you got to be more of a caricature of like, this is what I think you are, not really what you really are.
When you see her like in the back room of the department store with the other white women, and it's like she forgot she was white for a second.
Yeah, you can dance, you dance like a color girl and all that shit. But no, that whole dynamic was interesting that they played for. Basically, it's like. You got black people that say, if I was white, this would be different. If I was white, that'd be different. Well, you wake up white, let's see. Right. It's like, do you really want that?
Like, not if I gotta go through all that.
No, I mean, the metamorphosis was like, I don't see a reason to. Ain't no way I could keep on trying to do that.
Like,
go back.
Also,
to it.
I will go through that once. And never again.
Unless it's an emergency or some shit. But but they had her doing it quite often, which is kind of like Jekyll and Hyde, where he did it a lot, and it was a painful transformation. So it was kind of, I guess, and that's kind of how this show is. They take a horror movie or horror, either genre, horror, supernatural, science fiction genre, and they'll put it in every episode. So this is kind of like the Jekyll and Hyde thing. You know, which is good. So you kind of maybe curious, what's the next one? Because the last one was kind of like Indiana a pirate, Jones. Like Indiana Jones, and then the other one was kind of was like a monster horror. Yeah. You know, so it's all those elements are there. So it's actually that's what makes it such a good show if you're a fan of all those genres.
I'm sure there's a Dracula episode coming.
Yeah. So speaking of Dracula, I was figuring William for. Basically, Dracula. Should we talk about the reveal, or is that a spoiler?
I think that's a spoiler.
Okay, I'll hold on to that. Well, you had an ending, and at your ending, let's just say somebody's not who they seem. We really found out who is William and what's his motivation. Put it that way.
Yeah, actually, because I think when we did the first episode, you had said something about that, didn't you?
Yeah, I might have, because I thought they was like twins or something.
Yeah, but we ain't gonna go no
Yeah.
further.
So anyway, let's wrap it up, man. It was a good episode. The new episode come out tomorrow. We will watch it.
Yes.
And I'm probably gonna get the review up on Wednesday. Trying to do stick to our Wednesdays. But thanks for checking out the video, and please subscribe to the channel and give us some thumbs up. So
and don't forget to comment your favorite scene in this episode. That's what I want to hear from some folks.
all right,
There's
y'all.
some good ones.
We out of here. Peace.
Peace.